moment in history with the Hayes brothers. Three persons, including those bound to serve.
Hey, babe! What you doing in there?
Oh, I'm just checking out this pamphlet I have of the U.S. Constitution.
You talking about that document created by the white man to suppress us as black people?
Yeah, that's what I thought too, until I actually started reading it for myself. I mean, it's actually pretty transparent. I mean, if you look into it, it actually doesn't specify any race at all. So, I mean...
What? Don't it say that we as black people are only a portion of a human being as opposed to whites that actually make up a whole person?
Nope.
It do too say that. That's why all of us were slaves.
Nope.
But I know it say something about all blacks being slaves and not being able to vote and stuff like that just because of our skin.
Not at all. Like I said, it's actually pretty interesting. You should really take a look at.
Tell me.
Hey, babe, did you just throw your ring?
Yeah, I threw it. I threw it again.
What, I'm just telling you what I...
I was racist for even marriage over now. I should have known. I want a divorce. What are you doing?
Come on, babe, don't be like that.
Look,
I was just telling you what...
Get your hands off me.
Good evening, America. It is now March the 1st, 2017, approximately 8:30 p.m. Sorry about that. This guy was tripping. He was making me laugh. His rants are ridiculous. Maybe one day we'll be able to hear one of them. But anyway, today we're going to talk about something that's very controversial.
It ain't that controversial.
The Constitution is very controversial. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Specifically, Article 1, Section 2. I know some of you probably know what that is and what that is dealing with, but
well, what it was
at the time, definitely. But it's still an article of the Constitution, and many people will say, well, some people, a good majority of people in America will say that the Constitution has nothing to do with them. The Constitution wasn't written for them, so why should they abide by something, an article that doesn't even have anything to do with them? And then most people go to Article 1, Section 2. Most people dealing with people that look like us, obviously. So, yeah. Read it for yourself. Check it. Put it up there. Show them the article. Yeah, we're not going to read this for you. If you're watching this, you probably can already read it. And if not, then you can get a sibling or a parent or a guardian or something like that to read it for you. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so basically that's it. You finally been able to read it for yourself. So where in that does it specify race?
Shut up, phone.
I mean, what does it say? Anything about...
It didn't.
Now,
it didn't specify a certain race.
Yeah, no, it did not specify a certain race. So yeah, the misconception comes down, I guess, where it says 3/5 of all other persons or whatnot. But if you clearly look in there, when you read it, you can see where it says slaves. Now, keep in mind, after the Constitutional Convention, where this is instituted into the Constitution, there, you can clearly see at that time. Well, if you read, you will know that there were free black people at that time. That's when so many slaves wanted to get to free states, so they could be free and vote and do whatever else and just be free. So obviously there were free blacks at the time as well. So
what are you saying?
So
you're saying that the Constitution didn't say that black people were considered 3/5 of a person?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And why didn't it? Why didn't they specify Negroes? Because that will mean that only Negroes were slaves. That would mean that there were no free Negroes if they were to specify race into that article.
Or it would pretty much null and void the fact that slavery was going to end sooner or later.
Good point.
You couldn't end slavery if you were going to consider them in your document, your legal binding document of the nation, that black people are only a certain percentage of a human being.
Exactly. And keep in mind, the first part of the Constitution, this is all geared towards Congress. This whole first section is geared towards Congress. Okay? So it would not profit them to just randomly stick in and say, "Oh yeah, we're done with Congress. Yeah, we got the Senate, we've got the House of Representatives. You know, we got what they're constituted to do. We got their jobs and everything laid out here. Oh yeah, I forgot. We don't like those Negroes. Let's just make them less than a man and stick that up in here. Just randomly stick it up under the Article 1, Section 2.
Hey Jeff, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up Article 1. I think we're done here.
Something still seems to be missing.
Hey Jeff, did you hear me?
Oh yes, Frank. Frank, tell me, what about the Negro?
Yeah, wait, the what?
The Negroes, Frank. There's nothing here about the Negroes.
I mean, Jeff, this is specifically dealing with Congress here. I mean, what do you want to do?
Yes, I know, but I just adore the Negroes.
Yeah. So one question: North and the South. Which group, the North or the South, was for counting the slaves as voters at that point in time?
Well, obviously, it would have to be the North because they wanted the slaves to be free. That's what most of the free states were.
Exactly. That's what I always thought.
That's what I always thought too.
Until I read it and read up on the situation and looked at different things, and I found out that, hey, absolutely wrong. The South wanted to count slaves.
It was the racist slave owners that actually wanted to count slaves as being a whole human being. It wasn't those who were against slavery who wanted them to be counted as a whole. It was the slave owners.
Sounds kind of off, doesn't it?
Yeah, sounds way off.
Sounds very confusing.
Very off. Why would slave owners want us to be considered?
If you understand how the nation works and how we get our representatives, you will understand why. Representatives come by population.
That's
The
why,
more
basically
the
more
more
people, the
representatives
more
you have.
representatives. That's why California has so many House seats representing them. That's why
They have a higher population.
Of course, the Senate gets 2 for each state. Henceforth, that's why you have 100. But
when it makes sense
Houses,
that the South would want to count their slaves as part of the census, so they could be counted, so they could have more people
to
so
get
they
more
can get more
representation
representatives
in Congress.
and then the South would run the nation, basically.
Well, more representation pretty much means they would have a better chance of getting their pro-slavery laws passed.
Exactly. That's horrible.
We don't want that.
So, at any other point in time, the South always counted their slaves as property, not humans. But it was convenient for them to count slaves as humans now because, hey, we have an agenda to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and of course, they went back and forth, and the North was made arguments such as well, if you can count your slaves, your property, which you say slaves are property, we're going to count our property. We're going to count our houses. We're going to count our horses,
our chairs, and our tables.
And of course, the South didn't want to go for that, so
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, you can't count those. No.
So yeah, that's what the compromise.
Is Christopher Hayes a redneck? Are the Hayes brothers really black? Are the Hayes brothers even really brothers? Find out next time on the Hayes Brothers.
Pretty much came in from.
It's a compromise, man.
Yeah,
But
and a lot of people
got the common ground. You got to make an agreement here.
So why didn't they just come in and just say, no, slavery is wrong? If the white man was so good, a lot of people ask, why don't they just come in and say, and stick by and say, slavery is wrong, let's do away with it?
Because we don't live in a dictatorship.
Exactly.
And you can't just go.
And keep in mind that they had just come up from under Britain. I mean, they had just had a war with Britain. I mean, they had just had a war. So they were coming off of that. United we stand, divided we fall. All right. If they had just come in and did that, that would have been
the southern states would have left. The southern states would have seceded, and you would have had 2 separate Americas, and it would have fell apart.
And slavery probably would have been still going on.
It would have fallen apart.
In a lot of places, probably. You never know.
Probably.
Yeah, because I mean, there would be no America.
Probably.
Too much of you use surprise. Yeah, that probably would have been the case. And a lot of you probably wanted that, since you say we don't like America anyway. So, but that's just the case. So basically, I mean, you look at people like Frederick Douglass. You know.
Oh, against the Constitution.
Yeah, when he first, at first you can look at some of his earlier writings. You know, when he first became free, you can see, and when he was up under William Lloyd Garrison, he was under some of his teachings. So, and we all know William Lloyd Garrison, he even burnt some of the Constitution at one point. So he was an abolitionist, but he said it was pro-slavery.
Pro-slavery,
saying the Constitution was pro-slavery. So Frederick Douglass, he had some of those ideas from the beginning.
Until he read it for himself.
Until he read it for himself, and you can tell some of his later on some of his views. You can see how it kind of shifted and changed. And we talk about him doing Black History Month, right? A lot.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that point.
I mean, why not?
Leave that point out.
I mean, I guess it's a lack of knowledge and studying for people, studying for themselves, or they just want to hide it.
I think it's on purpose. I really do think it's left out.
Could be done on purpose. Possibility.
That's my personal opinion, though. So, well, really, everything I say is my personal opinion.
It's our personal opinion. Is it fact that the 3/5 compromise wasn't racist? It didn't have a racist connotation. It wasn't meant to demonize blacks and make them 3/5 of a man.
Can you think about it? If that was the case, and we were only considered 3/5 of a man, would we be able to live like we do today, or go to college and sit beside white people?
No, but they say the 14th Amendment abolished that, put the 3/5 away, which it did. So,
yeah, it did.
But you look at all those amendments, they never specify race.
Race, never.
It's never meant to specify race. As we said, when you read it, and you look, it's
they were more than just black slaves, so they couldn't just
exactly. There were more than black slaves, and there were free blacks at the time too.
Yeah.
So, like we said before, to specify race would just completely leave out the fact that there were free blacks who were able to vote and do everything else. That would leave that fact out. So, and you look at the states, even in the Constitution. Look, check this out.
Hey, Billy, would you look at the number of congressmen delegated to the free states as opposed to those delegated to the slave states? What about them? Sure does seem pretty tempting for those slave states to become free states, doesn't it? I guess so. Well, could you imagine what those numbers would look like if you added 2 more people to every slave to represent Congress? By golly, we could have ended up with another Arab slave trade.
Yeah. So basically, when you look at those states that show you how many free states, how many more delegates, congressmen were delegated to the free states versus the slave states.
I look at it
they
as
had more representation.
First big step towards abolishing slavery.
Yes.
In a peaceful manner.
You can pretty much say without the 3/5 compromise, then America would not be what it is today. And slavery probably would have went a lot longer than it did. Read these articles, read different things, and you'll pretty much see the progress. You can see the progress that the 3/5 compromise pretty much allowed the free states to...
Free states? You said slates.
Free states to pretty much, even when they went out west, you can see how that allowed them to pretty much get out west and grab more land and grab more, cause more states to become free. And even during the Civil War, some of those states that had slaves were pretty much loyal to the Union because of it. So, it's very interesting. So you got to research it for yourself and check it out. Don't just take what these government-run schools
tell you.
Shove down your throat.
Don't take what we say.
Don't take what we say and shove it in your throat. Study for yourself. All right? So, in saying that, continue to fight for the Constitution. It's not a racist documentation.
With these.
Every day, use these first.
So that hopefully,
prayerfully,
we never have to use these.
Ooh.
Peace.
Peace.
I can't find the hole.
It's a freaking dog!